Good morning, and welcome to your Stylo News Intelligence Update for March 9th, 2026. Today, our focus is on East Asia.
This update is brought to you by our partners at ProWave AI, the developers behind both Stylo Intel Ops and Stylo News.
We're going to start our analysis back in mid-February. That's when a series of new diplomatic agreements really started to reshape the military posture across the entire Indo-Pacific. Over just the last couple of weeks, we've seen a rapid series of events that has significantly raised regional tensions. It all kicked off on February 17th, when the U.S. and the Philippines reaffirmed their mutual defense treaty. Just 2 days after that, an agreement was reached to deploy advanced U.S. missile systems in the northern Philippines. Then, from February 20th to the 26th, we saw the first ever joint naval exercises between the U.S., the Philippines, and Japan. And this all leads up to March 6th, with the arrest of 3 Philippine military personnel who are now accused of spying for China. Now, the real centerpiece of this agreement is the deployment of the Typhoon missile system, which is capable of launching Tomahawks. Placing it in northern Luzon, well, that's a critical strategic move. It puts key Chinese military assets within a 1,000-mile range, and that fundamentally alters the security calculus in the region. And as you can see, these deployments are centered in 2 incredibly strategic spots, northern Luzon and the Bashi Channel. The Bashi Channel especially is a really critical waterway. It connects the South China Sea to the Western Pacific and sits right there between the Philippines and Taiwan. So this strategic repositioning, it immediately led to a whole series of military exercises and, of course, countermaneuvers. What we're seeing is a very clear action-reaction cycle playing out in these contested waters. And in late February, this new alliance was really put into practice. The Philippines, the United States, and Japan conducted their first ever joint maritime exercises, and they did it right in that strategically sensitive Bashi Channel. These drills involve some pretty complex air and sea maneuvers, including live-fire exercises. The stated goal? To enhance coordination and ensure freedom of navigation. But how these actions were perceived? Well, that differed dramatically. While the Allies stressed the defensive and cooperative nature of their drills, Beijing saw it differently, condemning them as a provocation. And China's response was to conduct its own combat readiness patrols near Scarborough Shoal, saying they were necessary to, quote, defend national sovereignty. Now, beyond these very visible military maneuvers, there's a more clandestine conflict unfolding. A kind of shadow war of espionage and what are being called gray zone tactics has really emerged. So what are these gray zone tactics? Well, reports have detailed China's use of some pretty sophisticated methods, actions that are aggressive for sure, but they fall just short of open warfare. For example, a Chinese Wing Loom 2 drone has reportedly flown at least 23 missions since last August, and it's been transmitting false transponder signals to make it look like other aircraft. We're talking signals mimicking everything from Belarusian cargo planes to British fighter jets, and analysts are looking at this electronic deception as a potential rehearsal for a Taiwan contingency. This whole shadow war really broke out into the open on March 5th. That's when the Philippine National Security Council announced a pretty significant security breach. They stated, and I'm quoting here, classified information concerning South China Sea supply missions was leaked and transmitted to Chinese intelligence. And right after that announcement came the arrests of Filipino military personnel. 3 individuals, to be exact, all of them now under investigation for espionage. So as you can imagine, these events are being viewed through starkly different lenses by the main actors involved. It's really created a sort of 4-way standoff with some very conflicting regional views. Let's break down the key positions because they are pretty clear. On one side, you have the United States and the Philippines, who are aligned on strengthening deterrence. On the other, you have China, which views these actions as a direct threat to its sovereignty. And then, sort of caught in the middle, is South Korea, trying to carefully balance its security alliance with the U.S. against its absolutely vital economic ties with China. Okay, so this complex interplay of military, diplomatic, and, of course, these clandestine actions, it all raises some critical questions for the future. So let's turn to the intelligence outlook. And really, the central question we're left with is this. With these new military deployments, the ongoing war games, and now espionage compounding all of these long-standing disputes, what is the actual path to de-escalation in East Asia? If you want a deeper analysis of these events, we invite you to listen to our full intelligence briefing. It's called Spy Networks and War Games, the Growing Security Contest in East Asia. You can find it right now on your preferred audio platform, or just follow the link in this post.
Thank you for joining us for this intelligence update. For AI-powered news on demand whenever you need it, you can subscribe to Stylo News at stylonews.com.